Shop. It's Sunday morning. I am here trying to get a brake job done on this Model 3 Performance before the football games. TikTok got shut down last night, so we're going to be on YouTube. YouTube is what we're going with, so follow us on here. We'll be doing live streams, lots of shorts, and then, of course, posting our content videos. So I'm going to get started here this morning. It's a little cold in the shop. So we're going to get it going. Let me, give me 1 second. I got to share this. Copy link. There we go. Hang tight. Okay, there, I'm back. We're gonna pull the wheels off here. We're doing a brake job. We got a Brembo brake kit put on here, so we'll pull you in a little bit closer so you can see what we're gonna be doing here. But we have the whole brake kit. We'll pull this off. I'm not sure if you can see why we're replacing it, but oops, sorry, it's this rust. We see this on a lot of the northern Teslas, especially the Model 3s. The brakes, because they don't get used that often, you know, you're mostly regen braking. This corrosion builds up on these rotors, and you can actually hear the brakes grinding. So we actually replaced the whole brakes, and we use a Brembo brake kit that is specifically made for these cars. It's a little bit better than the OEM stuff, and it's made by Brembo themselves, and I'll show that to you in a second. But we're gonna break these down. One of the things to note on these Model 3s is these pins, these caliper pins, get stuck a lot, and sometimes they're a pain in the butt to get out. Sometimes you can't get them out, and I gotta replace the whole caliper. So I keep these calipers in stock just in case I run into it. The trick's been a lot of penetrating oil, and then we put an air hammer on the backside to kind of break up the bead, and then we can pop it out this way. I got a special tool that I made, but these can be a pain in the butt to do. We'll put some penetrating oil in there. Kind of help start freeing that up. These don't look too bad. I've seen these look a lot worse. This car came from Massachusetts. That's any indication, but it's a 2018 Model 3 Performance, and this one has 70,000 miles on it, and this car we're selling for $20,000. We'll have the new brakes on it. The tires on it are already good, and we retail these cars. This is eligible for the tax credit. That's been a big driver of these cars and selling them, but we're going to try to get the pins out first. This is the hardest part. I always start with that. So the first thing I do is I take an air hammer to the backside of these pins and just hit it real quick, and that will usually break up most of it, and then they come out easily. Otherwise, it's going to fight me the whole way, unfortunately. So I'm going to get the air out here, and I'm going to show you guys how it's done. Now, typically brakes on a Model 3, unless you got this corrosion issue, they last 150,000 miles. You'll see on these pads, if you look in here, these pads are pretty thick. They probably got about 50% left on the pads, but the corrosion is just too much. The rears aren't that bad. All right, but hang in there. I'm going to get the air hammer out here. Special kit on it. Anybody who's done a brake job on these up north knows exactly what I'm talking about. I know this isn't unique to these cars because I've done quite a few of these brake jobs. A lot of them are like it. Like I said, so much so that I keep calipers on the shelf just in case I run into this. To not be held up, because it can take a couple days to get these parts. It's not like Tesla keeps them in stock at the dealership down the street, and if they did, it'd be exorbitantly expensive. You know, we get a lot of used parts from total losses. All right. Alright, let's see what we got here. I think that top one's going to come out pretty easily. So, I think the top one's going to come out. I'm going to start with the bottom one. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm driving this caliper pin out, and like I said, these get stuck. Yeah. Alright, I gotta flip this around. I gotta get some more leverage on this. And you gotta be careful too not to bend the caliper pin. So we'll punch it back the other way. See, that top one came out. The bottom one does not want to budge, so we're going to keep working on it. Had to get a little bit harder. Now I'm going to just punch them through. This one, at least, I have a backup pin. There we go. There we go. All right, so they're out. So pain, total pain to get these pins out, but like I said, drive them from the back side to kind of loosen it up. And I'm going to knock these all the way out, show you what they look like. And you definitely don't want to bend one of these. I've done it. Yeah, totally stuck. Let's get something else in there. Admittedly, this is not the worst I've seen. They get worse than this. Like I was saying earlier, is I've had to replace the whole caliper. I've never been able to, some of these I just can't get out. All right, here's the pin. So here is what it looks like. As you can see, this is the part that I was hitting the air hammer on. I was trying to free this whole, I don't know what is, donut up. Penetrating oil doesn't really get in there when you do it, so you kind of move it back and forth, and that way I'm able to knock it out. This pin will have to be replaced. The top one's pretty good. Got that spring in there. All right. I'll show you what this one looks like. It does not want to come out. We'll have to clean these holes out too. This is it's probably good we did this regardless. All this stuff needs to be lubricated up, but there's that one. And again, we're just trying to free this part up so we can just knock it out easily. If you just put this in here and just started hitting it with a hammer, there is no chance that's coming out. You will bend this, you will mess the nipple up. This is not something you want to do if you're in the Rust Belt. You do not want to attempt this on like a Saturday afternoon in your driveway, or you will be hating life. You got to have the right tools. You got to have a backup caliper just in case. If your rotors look like this, you're going to be fighting this. So let me get everything freed up in there, and I'll pull the pads out so you can see how corroded they are. All right, so there are the pads, and you can see they still have plenty of thickness left. This car, like I said, has 70,000 miles on it, and the pads are still 50%. I mean, this is probably over 50% if you look at it. I think a new pad, a little bit thicker. Actually, I have a new pad over here. Let me show you. Now, for when we do our brake jobs, now these are Brembo brakes, if you didn't know that. We don't use the OEM stuff. We actually use a Brembo kit that's called the EV kit. And this is made specifically for the Model 3, Model Y. And these are specially formulated pads. Now, I don't know how they're any different than the OEM ones, but we've had good success with these. And I have to say the pricing's pretty reasonable considering it's Brembo. So this is the new pad, and this is the worn pad. So it's actually, if you look at that, this pad's like 80% when compared to a new one. So this pad really hasn't had any wear on it. I don't know how to best line that up so you can see that, but 80,000 miles and the pad's barely worn. But again, our problem is the corrosion on this rotor from lack of use. Lack of use, not not actually wearing down. And I can't slap this pad onto a new rotor. It will score it all up. It will look terrible. So we'll use the EV kit. I have the Brembo rotors that are a part of the kit. They go together, they say. You know, honestly, I've swapped them. I've used them on other stuff. Mixed and matched and had success with it. And those kits are available. I think the best price to get them is on Tire Rack. Honestly, Tire Rack sells these kits. They have pretty good deals sometimes. I'm not affiliated with Tire Rack in any way. And here's the other pad. You know, and you can see how thick that is. And so, and it's scored up. You can see on the inside, I don't know if you're going to be able to see the dimension of it, but you can see where that rust has started to wear this not flat. So this outer ridge here. And again, that's why we're, so let me get this caliper off. 14, if I remember correctly. Take off this brake line bolt pretty easily. On the back of there are star bolts. They're actually, it's a 14 millimeter will fit it. That was tight. So that's the bolt right there. And again, a 14 millimeter goes on there, gets it off just fine. For caliper hooks, I use from a shower curtain. I get stainless steel hooks. I've donated quite a few of these hooks to cars over the years. These calipers are pretty light, so they can just hang up there. And so there you go. So that's the caliper coming off. It's literally drive those pins out to take the pads out, and then 2 bolts, and that's it. There's a 10 millimeter here on the front on the rotor. And we'll see if it comes off easy. No. And then there you go. And then if you look at the inside of the rotor, you see how bad that is? That is what's going on the inside. And you know, this is not for optimal brake performance or anything, so that's why this is actually going to get replaced. We'll clean all this up. And again, this is all aluminum. You know, this doesn't really rust. You got a little bit around the hub. But the car's fine. You know, it's 6 years old, sent it up north. It's not terrible for what it looks like. We just got to fix these brakes up. So let me show you the rotors we use. So these are the new rotors. These are Brembo, again, part of this EV kit. This is the front rotors for the Model 3. And they just come in the box, and you know, they're normal steel rotors, but very high quality. Let me clean these off, and then we'll put these on. And even though this is a Model 3 Performance, It has the regular long-range brakes on it. I believe this is called a Stealth in the community. So it has regular 18-inch aero wheels. It has the regular brakes on it, but it has the performance. Everything else is a performance on it, including the dash and all of that. All right. So this caliper, we're going to take a brush and some sandpaper, and we're going to clean out the slide areas where the pads go, just so we have a nice surface for our new brake pads. Put some sandpaper. I'm going to sweep on my feet too. There you go. All right. Yep. Gotta get this. Okay. So I got 60 people watching, so thanks for tuning in, checking out this brake job we're doing. We used to post a lot on TikTok, but TikTok's out now, so we're back to YouTube. YouTube's always been our favorite to post long videos, but we're going to start doing a lot more shorts and lives and everything over here. So subscribe and follow us, and like the page. And we're going to cover modern repairs on all these EVs and Teslas and everything else that's out there. I fix it all. It's got a battery in it and 4 wheels on it. Usually winds up here at some point. And what I'm doing is I'm just taking the sandpaper and I'm sanding out, this is 400 grit, I'm sanding out kind of the crud that's in here that's built up over time. And we're going to clean this all out with some brake clean here in a second. And this is just to give a good surface for the new pads to slide on. So now this will go back on. We'll mount this caliper back up before we put the pads in. We always put the pads in with the caliper mounted. Someone said these brakes are the same ones that come on the Corvette. Maybe. Similar style for sure. Brembo makes it. This does not stop like a Corvette due to the weight. I think these are about 1,500 pounds heavier than a Vet, so the same brakes would yield average performance. All right, calipers on. Bracket back. Okay. So these pins, I'm going to take and I want to clean them off. I just take penetrating oil and I'll run them through that same sandpaper that I have. And that's how I'll just want to clean off the crud just so they slide nice and easy back in there. Now, the one pin that I beat up pretty bad, I've replaced. I got a replacement pin here in my hand. And then you can see how much better, this is going to look when we're done with it. Again, 400 grit. Just clean it up. just so the new pads are going to slide easier on it. A little bit of penetrating oil and some sandpaper goes a long way. There you go. So these are looking pretty good now. These are nice and flat. You can see they're not bent. So that's what we're trying to accomplish. Okay, so I'm gonna put these down. So we're gonna insert the first pads in here. They don't have an inside or an outside. They're all the same. There's some brake compound here. I always put a little bit here on the slide. Okay. All right, so pads just slide in. They should go in nice and easy. There shouldn't be any resistance, and they should be able to go in there like this. You should be able to pull them out with your hand. They shouldn't stick at all. If they stick, you haven't cleaned the slide areas good enough with sandpaper. But if they move back and forth, that's what you want to see just by being able to pull with your fingers. Then you know that you got it nice and lubricated and it's correct. Now we're going to put in the first slide pin from the top with this spring. This is a tensioning spring. And you have to thread it through here. And the top one's always easy. Pop that through with the hammer. Okay, first one's in. Now the second one, I always put a little bit of lubrication on it before sliding it in. Helps it out a little bit because this one takes a little bit more force. Okay, so I've knocked in the pins, the spring is there, and that's it. We're done. This is the one side of the brake being done, and I'll show you what that all looks like over here, a little bit closer, what we ended up having to do here. I'll get my flashlight. So when we first started on this, we were struggling to get these slide pins out, and these slide pins are what hold the brake in. So we had to beat on them with an air hammer from the backside to loosen them up, and then we were able to punch them out. And we did the same for the top. So we got the new pins in, the spring, and then you can see those blue brake pads here. So that's it for a Model 3 brake job. You know, those are the parts that we hit that are difficult. The slide pins are very difficult to get off, but you know, it took about 30 minutes to do this side with a couple struggles and while talking you through it. So we're gonna move on to the other side, and if you wanna stick around, see how that one's done. Hopefully it goes a little bit faster, and we'll go from there. All right. Okay, so we're going to be doing I see we got nearly 100 people here. Thank you so much for tuning in to me this morning. But we're going to be doing a brake job. This is the driver's side of a 2018 Model 3 Performance. The reason we're replacing these brakes is not for wear. This car's got 80,000 miles on it, but the brake pad's still got about 80 to 90% pad left. It's because of this corrosion. This car's from up north, and the rotors just take a beating, and it's from lack of use. It's not from wear and tear or anything like that. It's just a lack of use is what caused this rust. So it's a pretty simple job to do. We hit some tough spots here and there with these slide pins. So that's the first thing that we get started on, is trying to loosen up these pins. So move on here. The other one fogged us a little bit, but we have a pretty good technique for these pins. We hit it with an air hammer from the back side. Loosened them up enough. Okay, that one came out. That one's going to take some more work. There they are, they both came out. So, again, I'll show you what we did there. Hit my thumb, damn. Okay, so on these Brembo brakes, you have these slide pins that hold the pads in, and they get really, really rusted and stuck on this backside. And if you just try to hit them out with a hammer, you're gonna bend it, you're gonna really jack it up. So what we do is we put some penetrating lube and we hit it with an air hammer on the backside to break up kind of the corrosion or whatever's in there, and then we beat it out with a chisel on the front side. So let me pop this one out completely and I'll show you what they look like. All right, so there we go. There we go. Okay. And this thing does not want to come out. Let's get the bottom one out. All right, so there's the pin, and if you see that like little nipple up at the top, that is what we're trying to break loose so it can pop out. And after a while, those things will get really, really corroded in there, and they're very difficult to get out, kind of like this top one's doing right now. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get it out straight and save the pin. I'm not really sure what's still holding it in. I'm gonna have to hit it with the air hammer again on the other side. There we go. Okay. Send it a little bit loose. All right, so there's the retaining spring. Hopefully we can get this thing out of here. It's being stubborn for sure. Oh, this thing's bent, actually. I think we bent it. That's okay. Got extra ones. We'll check though. There we go. I don't know. It might just be dirty. No, it's bent for sure. All right, we'll get another pin, but that at least frees up our pads here, and we'll pull those out so you can see what those look like. And what I'm doing is I'm pushing the pistons back to release the pad. And you can see here again, this pad is not worn. This is almost as thick as a new pad. It's just the corrosion. You can actually see the groove that's worn in the top of this from the rust that's on the rotors. And again, this isn't unique to Tesla. This happens to a lot of hybrids because they don't use their brakes that often. They're doing a lot of regenerative braking, and if you have a high salt environment and you don't get this stuff cleaned off, you don't take it through the car wash in a timely manner after a big snow, you wind up with this. So next is taking this off. All right. Oh man, we just hit 100 viewers. Thank you so much. That's my first time hitting 100. How many miles does this Tesla have? This one has 70,000 on it. It's a 2018 Model 3 Performance Stealth, and that's because it's got these silver calipers on it. As a Stealth, you don't get the big red brakes or the big wheels. So this has 18-inch aero wheels on it. You know, but the pads aren't worn. That's the thing. 80,000 miles. I mean, the pads will go 200,000 without question. We see that all the time. And we have quite a few Model 3s basically in our fleet that we service with some Uber drivers. And two guys in town have over 300,000 miles on their long ranges. Original batteries on both, and I think original drive units on both too. We've done suspension, we've done brakes, wheels, tons of wheels. Tires, I'm assuming I don't do tires here. but relatively, you know, we've done a couple steering wheels for them. The steering wheels wear out, trim. We'll just hang that caliper up there. Oop. These calipers look heavy, but they're very lightweight. Because these are aluminum, these aren't steel. Most cars have cast. I'm struggling right here. There we go. Okay. Oh, that one came off a little bit easier. There we go. So this is the back side of the rotor, and you see that rust ring there? This whole thing. And even this part's all like swollen here on the inside of the hat from the rust. So we'll replace it with these new rotors over here. And when we fit the other side, I'll show you guys too. We use Brembo. This is a special Brembo EV kit. There's the part. Specifically made for the Model 3 and Model Y. They make one for the Y also. Just clean up the rotor. I'll be right back over there. Okay. So here's the rotor. So now that the new rotor is mounted, we will go ahead. I'm going to move this around over here. We'll go ahead and bring the caliper back down. Now, I'm going to clean this caliper, the slides out of it, before we mount it back up. Okay, so what we're going to do is the slides in here, and I call them slides. It's just where the pads sit, and you can see here they're really dirty. And we already got some penetrating lube just from trying to knock those pins out. But I always take some 400 grit sandpaper and I run it down here just to clean this surface up. And that's going to give us a nice, flat, clean surface for the new pads to slide in on. You know, there was some corrosion. This is aluminum, but it doesn't mean it doesn't pit or it can have things build up in there. It's usually the bottom's worse too because of gravity. Okay, right there. Let me go get some brake clean. A little bit more. Sorry, getting super warm in here. All right, here we go. Back once again, now to get some fresh gloves. And again, these got some extra crud down and on here, so I wanted to get some fresh sandpaper to clean those off. Much better. Okay, so that looks much cleaner in there. So we'll mount this back up. Because when you insert the pads, you want to have the caliper mounted to do it. Makes it easier for leverage and everything. All right, so these are the pads that we use. These are a special Brembo EV kit. These are the part numbers, but these are blue in color. Brembo makes these factory brakes, but they also have a kit available separately for EVs. That's like a replacement slash upgrade, I guess. The Brembo rep couldn't really explain it to me that well. Maybe it was the Napa rep. I don't think it was the Brembo rep. I take that back. Napa or Advanced Auto Parts. They were in here trying to sell some of this stuff. Okay, so we got that mounted back up. Let's get this 10 back in here. And then we'll insert the pads. Okay, so these are the pads. My Tesla has some. Yeah, these cars are super reliable. Let me share something with you. We're a shop that works on Teslas like all day, every day. I'm an alternative to the Tesla dealer. The Tesla dealer here in Tennessee is literally quarter mile from me. We try to take on the jobs that the Tesla dealership won't do. Rebuilding batteries, rebuilding drive units, coolant deletes, upgraded brake jobs like this, suspension with aftermarket parts because they won't do the aftermarket camber kits. So, we got a lot of experience in doing it. And I'll tell you, the battery is the one thing that a lot of people talk about. They're worried about failing prematurely. And one second. As someone who fixes batteries, like I do this for a living, I know there's a lot of other people out there that, repair EVs, but from my experience, my phone is not ringing off the hook for Tesla battery repairs, period. It is not my number one service. It's not even close to my number one service. I rebuild more Ford Fusion transmissions, Toyota Prius engines and batteries, Chevy Volts. I mean, it's every other brand but Tesla. Tesla has this stuff going on, and you'll run into it. But if you read online, the perception would be that battery failure is pretty prevalent. Like it would almost seem, at least from my research, and I opened a business in this space, so we did our research, and I thought the failure rate was closer to 1 in 100. To be honest with you. Tesla says 1 in 1,000. I think that's a little ambitious, at least from what we've seen. But based on what we've sold and what we've had to fix and what we're seeing, we think the failure rate is closer to 1 in 300, which is 3 times more reliable than I originally estimated. And it's actually affected our business a little bit because I banked on getting so many battery repairs a year. I got trained on. I bought a bunch of equipment. I got, thousands of dollars in equipment. to do these repairs, and the phone's just not ringing. I know there are people out there with them, and I know it's out there, but I'm telling you, it is not as prevalent as you may think. I gotta push these calipers back in. And we got into the point of, well, if we're not gonna fix them, and again, this could just be for right now, but if we're not gonna fix it, we should insure them. So we started looking into starting a warranty company, finding some way, because we know that the failure rate's very, very low. So why don't we get into the business of insuring them? And through that process, we actually found a warranty company that we like a lot. It's called Battery for Life. All right, I'm not sure if you guys have heard of this before, but Battery for Life is a product you can buy. They make us run a test on your car, on your battery, but they will insure the car, the battery, for the life that you own it. It's quite a remarkable product. There we go. And we sell it for $2,000. So we decided not to start a warranty company because we found somebody who's doing it cheaper and better than what we thought we could do it for. So we just started selling their product. But again, the likelihood of a failure is stupid low. It's just take it from somebody who does this every day. Anytime someone's shopping for a Tesla and they bring up that question, and it's a legitimate question, everybody has concerns about it, I just say, talk to somebody who owns one. Ask them if they've had to do it. See how many people are actually, going through the battery replacement thing. And it, like I said, I swear it is the gas company, big oil, whoever. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but I swear most of those posts online are fake. You click on the profile, it's not a real person. Like, I don't know. At least it just doesn't seem that way to me. What we're doing is we're cleaning the slide pins right now with sandpaper and penetrating oil. And you saw those pads slid in here nice and easy. We lubricated them. You want to make sure they're nice and free moving in there. But yeah, the battery failures just are not happening. To give you an idea about how many batteries we fix a year, two Tesla batteries we fixed last year. And this year I have one scheduled so far. The battery repair, they're older Model S's, every single one of them right now that we're seeing. It runs $5,000 to $6,000 for repair, depending what's going on with it. But it's just not a lot of failures out there. This is a bad thing. But I was really impressed with this company, Battery for Life. I like the fact they teamed up with this other company called Verse New. They make equipment to plug into just about every car out there, including Tesla, that will allow, it's an app. I plug it into the wiring harness. You got to modify the harness a little bit. You plug in the OBD sensor, whatever, that connects to their app. It sends the data to them, and then they email me a report. And basically, they're pulling voltage data from the battery, the BECM or what BMB, whatever it's called in whatever vehicle, and they're comparing it to what they consider their thresholds for new. And if it's within 70% capacity, this company, Battery for Life, will sell you this $2,000 warranty, and they will stand behind it for the life of the car. Or for the life that you own it. Let me be clear about that. It's the life that you own the car. But the company seems cool, and we're selling them. People are pretty excited about it. Haven't had to do a claim yet. Again, these cars don't fail. But we'll see. But supposedly, you just take it to Tesla. You wouldn't even come to me. I wouldn't even be the administrator of the warranty, because you'd want to go get a remand one from Tesla. I'm here for you if you can't afford Tesla. Tesla estimates too much, or Tesla's trying to force you to do something that's unnecessary. Like we got a lot of these older Model S's that fail because of the BMS, so the BMB boards, as they call them. And it has nothing to do with the battery cells. I mean, it monitors the cells, but the cells are good, but the car can't communicate with them. So we have to go in there and replace these boards, and Tesla won't replace the boards. They will only replace the entire battery. And I'll tell you, the average person isn't going to know the reason the battery failed. You're just going to know that you had a battery failure and that they need to replace it. All right, so we're all done here as I'm talking about that. So you can see here with the pads, the new pads are blue. We put that retaining spring, the tensioning spring, and we put the pins back in, cleaned them up, lubricated everything, new rotors on, and that in 55 minutes is a full brake job with explanation of the Brembo kit. So to give you an idea what something like this costs, we charge $499 to do this job. The brake kit's about 300 bucks, you know, to sell. And we charge an hour per side, 2 hours at $100 an hour. I'm straight time. We haven't increased our labor rate or anything like that in a while, so I'll still do it for $100 an hour. So $500 per axle. The Model S is $700 per axle. The parts are more expensive, much bigger brakes, and that's Model X also. So I think $1,000 for front and rear axles with a Brembo specific EV kit is a very good deal. That's what we offer here at Hybrid and Electric Car Sales. Now we're in Franklin, Tennessee. Can't say any other shops are willing to do this, but that's what we do here. And again, as you're following along, this was just replaced because of corrosion. It has nothing to do with the pads wearing out. It has everything to do with just the environment the car came from. And again, you can see how jacked up this rotor is. The rears are in much better shape, but this car's from Massachusetts. And you know, I don't know exactly the story behind it like that, where, you know, was it stored outside? Was it driven? But 80,000 miles in 6 years, 12,000 miles per year, you know, that's average. So not too bad. But we're going to button this back up. You can stay with me if you want to watch me put the wheels on. But besides that, we'll be signing off here. So you can watch this stream if you want to see how to do the brakes and best practices, because we did some tips and tricks with that air hammer on how to get these pins out without completely destroying it. But I would definitely buy that brake kit from Brembo. I think I told you Tire Rack or Rock Auto is the best place to get those kits. And then buy a couple of extra slide pins just in case you jack these up, because if you hit them too hard, they'll bend and then you can't get them back in and your car's stuck. And like I said at the beginning of the video, this is not a job you want to take on a Saturday afternoon in your driveway if you are in the Rust Belt. If you are north of Virginia, you will struggle with this unless you have the proper tools. So just forewarned, you know, if you're in Florida, Texas, these come apart with ease, so you'll have no issues. Even here in Tennessee, if it's an originating car. But that's what we're here for. So check us out online, tune into our stream, like, subscribe. You know, no more TikTok, so we're here on YouTube with the shorts, with lives, and we'll also post videos of all of our repairs that we're doing here. So I really appreciate all the follow and all the love. Thank you so much. But look at us online at hybridandelectriccarsales.com. See us in person at 616 Bradley Court in beautiful Franklin, Tennessee. Or if you want to give me a call and talk shop, 615-802-5550. Happy to help you out anytime. Thank you so much for tuning in on a Sunday, and go Ravens. I'll see you guys all later. Thanks.